Hey guys, welcome. This is another stream by CP Cards and Dice, and we're looking at replay games. I received this game thinking I was only getting a bag of cards. I traded a 2015 Stratomatic baseball season for the 1973 replay season because I don't have a 73 season anymore, and it's not available through Strat. So I put the word out there that I had an extra 2015 or anybody was interested. So I got into a dialogue with a forum member on Delphi. And what happened was that we basically made an agreement. You know, he wanted a year, and I said, well, I don't have that year. He was a Mets fan as well, and he was asking. I can't remember the year he wanted, and I said, well, I don't have that year, but I do have 2015, and that's a good Met year. And then we left it at that. And then I waited a couple of days and I said, hey, are you interested? And he said, yeah, you know what? I'll take the 2015. He sent me this box right away. I got it like in 2 days. I didn't ship his until 3 days later. But he knew that. I told him I can't ship until Saturday. And then I ended up shipping on Monday. I don't know what came. Oh, I had to work. I got an emergency call at work and I had to go in. And so I emailed and I told him, hey, listen, I'm sorry. I received your box. And look, I got a whole, first of all, it seems like I got a whole game because I got a box here. I never expected to get a replay box. So let's see what I got in this thing. So you open it up, and the first thing I'm getting here, right? The first thing I'm getting, and I'm going to turn it around. So I don't want to shake or put it sideways because I don't want to shake the camera. So let's look. I get this. All right, this is the basic chart from the new game. There's a whole chart here, and it broken down into 6 columns. And the way you play replay baseball is you read the batter card, the pitcher card, or vice versa. You add up the numbers, and then you look on the column that it pertains to. You can memorize a lot of these numbers, and eventually it moves really fast. I've seen guys. It's a really nice system. Has a nice variety of results. And you can. It has some more like super advanced features, which you can ignore. Like when I start playing this, I ignore most of the super advanced features. Once I play it 2-3 times, then I'll start with the advanced features, and eventually I'll get to the super advanced features. And it still plays fine. It's like, think of like any game. Think of Stratomatic that has basic, plays good, advanced, plays good, and then super advanced, more detailed, takes a little bit longer, plays very, very well. All right, so think about that. This game is pretty much set up that way. You don't have to do the extra stuff. You'll still have a very realistic result, and so on. So this is the first thing I got. I never expected this. All right, so I never expected a new chart, which I already have, but hey, now I got an extra one. Then I get this bunch of papers here. I don't know what this is all about. These are some extra information. I guess he printed out rules. I believe these are the printed rules, right? He printed these out on his computer and said, well, I don't want these anymore. I'm going to include them. Runner on second base, 2008 Rare Play Edition. This is an older edition. Now, Replay Baseball has been around a long time. So this is a 2008 Rare Play Edition. So he probably had this sitting in his closet for years and years. I don't know how long it was. But I guess, and then eventually you can buy this other kind of glossy cardstock, trifold. You can buy that and just for whatever, $7 or whatever. I'm not sure how much it is. Okay, so 1973 replay. Look at that, the 1973 season. So I get all the stats for that season: the NL batting leaders, the AL batting leaders, the AL pitching leaders, NL pitching leaders. I get team recaps, how they did, what was really good about them and what was maybe not so good about them. So I got a little bit of a paragraph on each of the team, or multiple paragraphs on each of the teams. Wow, look at that. Some images, some pictures of different players. I guess the highlights, the better players. So this is, hey guys, who's there? Astros. Cool, man. Very cool. So 1969, one of my favorite seasons. But the next season that I'm looking to get into is 1976. Why? Because that was my first season. And I know that I won't get tired of playing it because there'll be that nostalgia factor, and I'll be like, oh, no, I can't stop playing this. I love playing 76. That was the first season I ever replayed. And I had it was an epic fail. And I've told this story before on some of my streams where I was playing APA baseball, and APA gives you a roster sheet. The roster sheet has all the pitchers listed by the pitchers who pitch the most. A lot of times that ended up being the best pitchers. So when I would face a team, I would just look at the roster sheet. I was basically managing the Yankees. I'd look at the roster sheet and pick the three top guys on the top of the roster sheet. So 1, 2, and 3. So the Yankees for the whole season always batted against the top pitchers. I was not aware of the ultimate result of that, and I had terribly low batting averages because they were always batting against A and B pitchers, the top pitchers in the league. Instead of like getting the 5 or 6 starters and shuffling them up, turning them upside down and pulling a card, which would have been more realistic, because at that time I didn't have access to, like the way we didn't have Baseball Reference back during the dinosaur era. But so I wouldn't really know, but I could have shuffled them up. And but anyway, that's what happened. So that was an epic fail for me. So that's why I want to replay that season and have all the guys do a little bit better. So that's really cool. So, this was circa 2018. So this is a newer set. All right, I don't know what's going on here. All right, so I get some bubble wrap. Here I get some new dice. I never have enough dice. I don't know. It's kind of like a disease of some kind. I get a little playing field. Kind of cool. Look at that. Little styrofoam playing field. I got little tokens to put on there. I never use those anyway. I wouldn't use this. But anyway, that's not the point. Point is I get some cool stuff. And I get all this Shea Stadium. Look at that on top. And I get all the stadiums here. Let's look at the stadiums. This is the stadium card. I think this is like a little bit older style. I don't know, or newer style. I can't tell, but it has the regular 6 column. Then it has the 2 column and 3 column. It has a nice picture of Shea Stadium. I remember being there a bunch of times. I worked across the street from Shea Stadium for a long time. And here you have all the stadiums. So that's cool. I get that as well. Never expected. I expected some cards, but I guess the stadium comes with the cards. Pitching cards. I get the pitching cards. Number 2 pitcher, number 5 pitcher, number 6 batting card. Then I get another sheet with the third base coach. This is normal. Go for it or play it safe. This is the base advancement. Hold on a second. My dog wants to get out. All right, but go for it, bud. All right, sorry guys. So this is basically for base. It's an action chart where you get stolen bases. It also has wild pitch and pass ball chart. And this game's pretty. I mean, it's a pretty nice game to play. It's not, once you get used, you have. This is the trick with learning new games, guys. You got to play it a bunch of times to start getting familiar with it. Once you start getting familiar with it, it's not as daunting. And it makes me excited all the time. When I think of a new game, I get excited, and I'm that kid again that's getting that box in the mail. All right. I mean, I love the game of baseball, but I also love learning the different mechanics and the different stats and the different systems that different game designers use to kind of replicate the very cool game that we love. So that's one of the things that brings my awakens my soul, if you will, to not be very overly cliche or corny, if you like. Okay, so then here are the basic. Welcome to Replay Baseball. The basic rules, the foundational rules with the cards. It tells you all about the cards and what every part of the card means, and then it gives you an example of play. It shows you red. Right? It says each at bat is decided by a roll of the 3 dice. Okay, red die tells you which column. Then the white die, all right, red die tells you which column. The white die tells you how many squares to count on the batter card. So you got the column, the batter, and then the pitcher. You add those up, and then you look at that chart, the first chart that we pulled out. So this is 2 pages of information. That's very cool. It tells you all about the cards. This is very well done. I highly recommend this. Who's there? How you doing, ID Jester? What? ID Jester's in the house. Oh, man, he's like a celebrity, dude. When he stops by, that means something. I was watching his amazing, 16 best games, and it was removed from one of the forums because they said, we don't want to talk about best. What's best? And I go, ID Jester is very, very, upfront about it's his opinion. It's how he feels. It doesn't mean a game is bad or it's a game is good. It's his criteria. And you know what? I think his video of the top 16 games was tremendous advertising for the depth of our and reach of our tabletop baseball products, it shows people who like one aspect of what we do. And I thought he was very fair. He had his criteria that he set up. And hey, if you like one of the games, and one of the reasons I'm trying, there's a couple of reasons I'm starting to play Inside Pitch, and he just encouraged me to do that as well. I mean, also Ben, convinced me, said, hey, this is a good game, you should try it out. But then ID Jester, his video, I watched his video again just to learn more about his positives and negatives of the game. And I was like, that's cool. I mean, I know every game's negatives, and I know every game's positives. And I'm learning other games. So I think that's huge, ID Jester. You did a great thing. And Al, Red Sox fan, an amazing announcer. Okay. Probably he can be on the MLB. All right. And I'm serious because I'm straightforward and I'm honest. And I'm telling you, he's a great announcer. And I love watching his replay of the 1977 Mets. He does a lot of PC gaming. And this is the rare play chart. This is beautifully done. And I'm going to tell you why I really like the rare play chart for replay baseball, because there's so many different plays, and it has to do with how many outs. And when there's a runner on first, when there's a runner on third. So there's so many different results. It's not just generic. And I like the fact that there's a result with nobody out, 1 out, and 2 out. And then you roll from 2 to 12. So, I mean, this is really, really probably one of the best rare play charts, because a lot of rare plays aren't like, a fastball hits a seagull. All right. There's a lot of weird where a pitcher gets like 3 errors in an inning. He basically drops a ball, then throws it over the first baseman's head. Then they send it back to him, and he throws it to third, and that goes over the third baseman's head. So I've seen that happen. So I mean, those are the rare plays that sometimes you need to see. Just unusual things, It's not always the fastball gets the bird, or there's a hidden ball trick. So here are the cards. This is what I thought I was getting. I got the whole game. Oh, I'm glad ID Jester agrees. So here's the game. This is the game. 1973. Now, 1973 Mets were kind of awful. They won 82 games. Look at that, 82 and 79, and they were first in the league. I think it was St. Louis that was right behind them, like 1 game behind them. Let me see if I can find St. Louis. And let's go over, St. Louis was second place in the East with an 81 and 81 record. So I'm going to try to play the 72 season replay, but I'm going to do it using ball score. And it's a little bit different than what I normally use. So let's look at some of the players. Wayne Garrett, he's a lefty. He plays second base, shortstop, and third base. Felix Millan, he was their everyday second baseman. He was a contact guy. He really choked up on the bat. Rusty Staub was like mainly their top guy that you can count on. He batted 280 with 15 home runs. But that's the type of season. Now, John Milner was their power hitter with 23 home runs, but he batted only 240. He was their first baseman. Cleon Jones, not a very good season, 260 and about 330, 40 at bats. Jerry Grody, right? Basically played half the season, batted 256. Don Hahn, 250 at bats, batted 229 with 2 home runs. Not very good, not very exciting. Buddy Harrelson, he gets flipped and tossed and somersaulted by Pete Rose in the playoffs right prior to this World Series against the Oakland A's. He had 350 at bats. He played 100 games, 258 average. He was a pretty decent defender. Tom Seaver. This is one of the reasons I want. Oh wow! Look at all the ones, man. Look at all the ones in column 1 and all the ones in column 2. That's a lot of strikeouts. He pitched 290 innings with a 2 ERA, 19 and 10, and a 0.98 WHIP. Tom Seaver, man, he's amazing. Jerry Koosman, another amazing pitcher with a 2.84 ERA. He didn't have the same luck. He was only 14 and 15, so I guess they didn't give him the run support he needed. John Matlack, he's another starter with 240 innings pitched. The Mets had an amazing staff in 1973. George Stone, he had 148 innings pitched, 2.80 ERA. He was 12 and 3, the left-hander. Jim McAndrew, another starter, 80 innings pitched, 5.38 ERA, not very good. Ray Sadecki had a pretty good season, 117 innings pitched. Oh, he was actually a reliever and a starter. I think he started about 10 games. Harry Parker. These are all the Mets. So I'm going to be replaying John Strohmeyer, Bob Miller. So you got a bunch of players here in this set. Phil Hennigan, 6 ERA. Buzz Capra, 119. Tug McGraw, he had 25 saves, 3.87 ERA. So not really all that great in terms of ERA. Eddie Kranepool had almost 300 at bats, hit only 1 home run, batted 240. Left-handed batter, first baseman, played left field and played right field. Ted Martinez. Willie Mays was on this team. Willie Mays, yes, the Willie Mays. The twilight of his career, 66 games played, 200 at bats, 211 average, terrible. Duffy Dyer was on this team, 200 at bats, 185 average. Ron Hodges, 127 at bats, 260 average. George Theodore had 100 at bats, batted 259. How this team won first place is beyond me. But it's going to be fun trying to relive that and see what happens. So anyway, what did I do with the rubber band? I don't know what I did with. Oh, here it is. So that's 1973 for you. So these are nice cards. They're all set up with it comes with information, who the coaches were. It tells you the place that they ended up in. It gives you their record. It gives you a lineup, righty-lefty lineup. So that's really cool. Let me get to one of the hidden gems of replay baseball. I think it's a hidden gem of replay baseball. Let's look at it real quick here. And it's what is this here? This is more Dear Replay 73 Yearbook Owner. Uncollated cards, 73 Yearbook. Gives me some information that I don't really care too much about. Season instant replay. So with this, there's a way of playing out the season for the other team so they can get a record. I don't know how that works either. Then I got another paper here that says how much was paid, $55. Very cool. And finally, the score sheet. The score sheet is one of my favorites. I like this score sheet. I don't know. I just like it. I think it's kind of cool. It gives you a place for. Oh, this is the score sheet that doesn't give you a lot of place. It doesn't give you places to put pinch hitters. I write the pinch hitters down here. That's what I do. I do that. It doesn't give you spaces, really that many spaces for pinch hitters. So I was thinking, you know what? I think it's the payoff pitch score sheet that's really, really good. It gives you place to put visiting pitchers, home pitchers. It's got the scoreboard on the top. Then it's got the yeah, that's it. And then I like this because it allows you to write in the defenders' numbers on both teams. And then the notes, this is where I write the pinch hitters in. So if I do 2 pinch hitters, and again, I try to minimize, the pinch hitters. I don't start pinch hitting in the 3rd inning. I wait till the 5th or the 6th inning when I can. And I try to avoid doing double switches because that's really time consuming. I only do it when I need to do it. And if it's like it's been a real quick game and so I try to minimize, all those changes as much as possible. That's why I'm playing 1973, because I know that a lot of guys are going to, pitch the whole game. So I can learn I can relearn, replay baseball again using, without all the changes, the constant changes of every inning. You got to get a new pitcher, and then you need a pinch hitter, especially in the National League. Actually, to learn games, it's easier to play American League games because with the DH, you don't have to make a lot of substitutions. So then you can just focus on the rules. You don't have to worry so much about the managing aspect of it. Let's see, Appa Chatter's in the house. I agree that it was fair. We all have different. Yeah. So, for him to have that video taken down, well, it wasn't taken down by the owner of the site. It was taken down by the guy who posted it. I guess he had second thoughts because the site is somewhat authoritarian about ever talking about, hey, I think this is the best game for me. I think it's a little bit extreme. I think guys can have debates and say, hey, this is why I like this game, and this maybe is why I don't like this game so much. And hey, so what? That makes, I think, the discussions and debates makes our hobby stronger and also serve as data, to drive our industry. And when guys design games, they're giving us what we want. If we don't speak out and we don't let people know what we want, and we just stay, yes, we basically fall to our knees and just praise whatever is coming out, and we have no influence on it, and we have no voice, and they don't adjust to our demands, I think that's a bad direction to go in. I think that makes us just fanboys, and it makes us basically zombies. I mean, we have to tell, hey, we want all the cards. We want access to all the cards. We want access to PDFs. We want to have access to all the seasons. That's why I'm getting into Inside Pitch. Guess what Inside Pitch has? Every single season. I go to other companies. I want to buy more seasons, but I can't. They got like 1 season in the 70s, 1 season in the 80s, 2 seasons in the 90s, and that's it. And then they have all these best teams sets where you get the 9 top teams of that year. And that's cool, but I do, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, why can't you have that and also offer, and I'll tell you why, because I don't think a lot of companies. Hey, Catalano's in the house. Holy smokes. So anyway, I don't think a lot of companies, and this is it, guys, they don't have it computerized. They don't have the card creation system computerized. And I'll give you an example. The guys, Brian, I can't pronounce his last name. Brian anyway, he's the guy that does the Status Pro stuff on eBay. If you look for Status Pro on eBay, they have every single season ever created, and they can hit a button on their computer and they have it programmed to where it spits out any season that they want. Like if they want 20, let's say the World Series ended, or even before the World Series and before the playoffs, you already had the season stats. Well, guess what? Status Pro had all the teams already, had the 2019 season, because they have it computerized, and all they do is input. I guess they can, I don't know exactly how they do it, but all you need to do is input all the statistics, and then you hit, enter, and it turns it all into cards. And if it's taking you 3 months or 4 months to do one season, that's the issue that we're having, because that means if it takes you that long to do a season, and you don't want to rush through these seasons, then you're struggling because you can only create, let's say, 3 or 4 seasons a year. And how many seasons are there? Think about it. Think about how all the guys that like the 1920s and the 1910s and the 1930s and 1950s, there's 100 seasons of baseball, more than that. I mean, 120, 140. Okay. So if you can only create 3 or 4 a year, we're not going to be around by the time you create all the seasons that we want. Okay. I mean, guys, come on, let's be honest. Um, let's be honest. We're not going to live forever, guys. All right. So, if I have to wait 15 years, okay, for me to get the 1976 baseball season, missing, with 24 players or 27 players on a team, or if I have to wait 10, 15 years for that, I don't know if I'm going to still be rolling and have the energy, 15 years from now. So this is a factor that I don't think anybody is really aware of. They're not looking at the big picture. If you have something that people want, do it now, because we're basically boomers that have purchasing power. All right, this is the most purchasing power we're pretty much ever going to have. Our kids are grown up, our kids are in school, most of us, and we have, money floating around. We want to spend it, but if you're not giving us what we want, if you're not giving us the 1998 season and we got to pay $175 for it, you're not giving us the 1975 season, we're having to pay $275 like a guy on eBay is doing right now. And then all of a sudden, guess what? In February, you decide you're going to release the 1975 season. Well, thank you very much. You just screwed that guy big time. I don't know about CP, but I am living forever. So anyway, that's my rant on that issue. And again, speaking out for ID Gestures, amazing, 3-part top 16 list of tabletop baseball games that he spent a lot of time putting together. Highly impressed by that. It's a great addition to our library of basically advertisement for our hobby, because that's what ultimately it is. He's making people aware of games that that a lot of us didn't know about. When he put Inside Pitch as number 2, that stuck to me. That was with me, and I was like, wow, okay. He put that number 2. And then number 1 is one of my favorites, Payoff Pitch. And I know that he had a Replay Baseball, I think number 7. So then, and that's another game that I like. So if he thinks that Inside Pitch is that much better than Replay, well, then I know it must be good, right? I don't know if it's going to be better. It may be the same, but I already watched a bunch of tutorials, and it looks like a really fun game. And then there's a lot of pitcher-batter interaction, and that's a really interesting part. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be playing some Replay. I'm going to be playing some Inside Pitch, and I'm going to be continuing my Deep Drive 2019 Replay as well. So I think pretty much that's what I had today. So I wanted to go over this trade. I made a trade. I traded my 2015 Stratomatic baseball season, the Mets, because this was a Met fan, and the Mets got into the World Series that year. And they were a lot of fun to play. I'm replaying that using Stratomatic. And so then I traded him that for Replay Baseball. So now I got a 73 season because I couldn't get it with Strat. And a lot of companies don't have it. Like Deep Drive doesn't have a 73 season. They have a 71 season, but that's okay. That's a good season. Some guys I know bought that. But what else? There's a lot of companies that just don't have that. 1971, like Payoff Pitch doesn't. I don't think they have a 71 season, and so forth. 70. They have a 73 season. I actually have that season. They don't have a 76 season. And who has a 76 season? inside pitch. That's the next season I want to get. So I want to learn inside pitch. I want to learn the rules so that um, I can replay the 1976 season. Why do I like the 1976 season? And that's because, and that's the reason I like the 1976 season. That's the first season I ever rolled, and ever since I've been a junkie. I've gone to all types of rehab programs, and I've been kind of interned for rehab, and I haven't been able to break away from it. I broke away from it a while I was with my raising my kids, and then when my son became old enough, I started rolling some dice with him, and then eventually I started getting crazy into. I had a lot of free time on my hands, and and then I started saying, "Wow, let me look at some other games to learn some other games," because I was just rolling APA, and then I started getting into all these other games, and they're great. So, anyway, um, that's pretty much everything I wanted to unbox with Replay Baseball. I hope you enjoyed the talk, the rant. This keeps our hobby alive. Having these conversations keeps the hobby interesting, keeps it growing. This sends a message to a lot of designers, what we want to see. We want access to seasons. Don't tell me what I have to buy because you want to release it based on whatever you decide. Give us all our seasons, allow us to buy as many seasons as we want. I don't accept people saying no PDFs. I say, why? You can send a PDF where you can only use it twice, and that's it. So after that, because a lot of guys say, oh, well, everybody's going to be pirating the seasons. If this company comes out with a PDF, we're all pirates. We're all like crooks, and we're going to be selling all the sets to each other for nothing. First of all, a PDF, you get it for $20, and we're not complicit in destroying a company. That doesn't make any sense for us because they do the work. We appreciate that. We're telling you we have money. We want to spend money. Let us spend money. Give us what we want. And then when you have, I know I'm having an issue with the camera now. I don't know why it's doing that. Let me just move it a little bit, see if it adjusts. And that's, I think, has to do with yeah, it's going nuts here. Let's see if it'll stop. There you go. I think when stuff gets too close to the camera, I think it starts breathing and the heart starts beating. But anyway, yeah, just to give us the and a lot of these forums are oppressive in nature in that they don't let you voice your opinion without basically banning you. Okay, and it's not, you're not saying the game sucks. You're saying, hey, I like the game. This is what they need to do to get my money. So what's wrong with that? Why do other guys not want the company? And then you get all these guys chiming in saying, well, I don't want that. And I go, why not? I want what you want. I'm not against what you want. Why are you against what I want? Why can't we have both? Why can't we have what you want and what I want? Oh no, we can't have what you want because there's too many crooks. We're all crooks and we're all complicit and we're all going to be, no, that's not going to happen. We're not all crooks and we're not going to be pirating the sets. Right now, there's plenty of scans out there of these games for guys that want to collect and can't get a hold of the actual sets. There's plenty of scans and we're not buying those scans because, hey, this is not a lot of money. This hobby is super cheap, man. For $50, you can spend thousands and thousands and thousands of hours playing, and you try to go to dinner for $50 in a halfway decent place. For two people, you're talking about $120, $130, and after an hour, it's done. And come on now, let's get serious. If you have a good product, but again, there's some companies that I think go overboard with the prices, guys. I'll be honest. If I got to pay $120, $130, for a whole season, I think that's pushing the envelope a little bit. I feel like, I think that's a little bit much, because I don't know. I think that's pushing the envelope. I think, around $60 for the majority of the players. And if they want to add some players for another $10 or $12, the rest of or if they want to give them for free, that's cool too. You know, that's all good. But that's it. So basically, this is my rant for today. Pretty much, I think I'm going to be playing deep drive baseball. I've been preparing all the season slowly but surely. I did a video on the cutting tools that I'm using, and I did on trimmers like edge trimmers, corner trimmers. I did a video on that earlier today, and then I'm going to do a video on deep drive baseball, and then I'm going to start playing replay again. So I will have some games with that. So I'm going to start setting that up as well. Um, and I'm going to do that using ball score. But what I'm going to do is I may do it on paper because I go through these periods of not wanting to do paper, and then all of a sudden I miss paper. I see a guy doing paper, and I'm like, I want to do paper. I miss paper. I got to do paper. So then I get my pencil and paper out, and then I do all that, and then I have after like 2 or 3 weeks, I'm like, I don't want to do paper anymore. And I'm not a guy who keeps the paper. I just crumble it up at the end of the game. I don't want to see that again. I played it, I enjoyed it, and I move on. That's how I am. I know some guys collect all their paper and they have the games that they played in 1959, and that's cool. But guess where that's going to go when you pass? It's not going to fit in your coffin. It's going to go in the garbage. And I don't want I don't want to have a lot of stuff, for people to kind of say, oh man, I got to get rid of all his stuff now. I rather have the stuff that I use and then kind of keep it, keep recycling it, basically sending stuff out. I did a lot of giveaways earlier in the year. Sports Time Machine is in the house. Baseball demos. What? What? Oh man, this has got to be something special. This has got to be a special occasion. One of my favorite, video guys, tabletop guys, baseball demos. Holy smokes! Yes, I watched the Sox replay. Unfortunately, the Sox don't play the Mets. But in 1977, I don't want to see the Mets. So it's okay. I like when you play the Yankees. I remember the Yankees in '77, but that was a big year for me, man. I remember that year very vividly, 1977. And your videos are great. They're a huge inspiration for everybody in our hobby. So and I feel honored that you guys stopped by today. A bunch of you guys that I hardly ever see, and I'm sure you kind of hit and run when I'm doing stuff that But I'm glad that you guys stopped by today. ID Jester and Al Red Sox fan and baseball demos and sports time machine and holy smokes. Okay, I mean these are the elite guys in our tabletop world. So anyway, I did some of the rants and a little bit of the rants on my 2020 preview baseball show and give your opinions of the season. Heck yeah, man. You just got to set me up to do that. I don't really know how to get all that stuff going on. So if you teach me, I'll show up there. I know, you know what? I know a lot of you guys. I don't, I, I'm a little bit like that V for Vendetta. I feel like I should wear one of those masks and come on, to do a talk. I know a lot of you guys aim the camera at yourselves. And from the beginning, I never really thought about doing that because I wanted it to be about the game all the time. I wanted it to be a focus on the game. And I felt that if I didn't want to put the focus on me, my picture is out there. It's not about that. It's just I don't do that a lot. But if I get invited, I guess to something like ID Jester invited me to, I would be willing to do that. Again, because I always wanted it to be about the game. I'm really against celebrity culture. I'm really not into the commodification of individuals. I wanted to basically share what I do in my hobby, and that's one of the reasons that I never really come up with the camera and just kind of talking to the camera like you guys do. I do that in other parts of my life and like my work. I'll do that a lot. I do a lot of big presentations and so on at my job in front of hundreds of people. But I'm not really about me. I don't know if you notice, I never really talk about me, and I know that you guys are a lot like that. You're about the game, but that's one of the reasons that I never really just aim the camera at myself. I always kind of want, and I'm into the learning part and the teaching part. That's why you guys have taught me everything basically about the different games. ID Jester, I've listened to tons of his videos when I was getting into payoff pitch. And then baseball demos, he's got a lot of stuff, and I've listened to tons of his stuff, about the different games as well, um, and so forth. So anyway, that's CP Cards and Dice for now, and let's see. I like to stay behind the camera. I know baseball demos is a lot like me. He's really into the just focusing on the game. Let's look at this game, and he likes to stay. I know that he's come out from kind of behind the curtain a few times, but I know it's kind of not in his nature. He's not really totally comfortable with that. And again, it's because I think it's just I don't know how to say it without making guys who are on camera. Um, I mean, if you're on camera, you become, I think, more familiar with the guy, and it becomes more intimate. Like, like, hey, I know this guy. He's like me, and I know there's that aspect to it. But then there's the idea of, when do I do that? When don't I do that? When does it become about me? And then I don't want to deviate from actually the games, the instructions of the games, the tutorials of the games, the fun of the games, the excitement, the stories about the players, the nostalgia, the Topps baseball cards, like baseball demos does. He does all the he brings out Topps, and I've done that as well, because a lot of times I don't remember what the players look like. So I said, heck, I need to look at these players to remember kind of who this guy was. I want to see the uniform. I want to see the old card. It's just something about recreating that nostalgia when we used to collect the cards. I remember we used to have piles of cards. We used to flip them with the colors. You keep going, you flip, flip, flip until you can top a guy with the color. Like he puts down a yellow and you put down a yellow, and then you win all the cards. I remember that game. Used to play that game with the Topps baseball cards. Dodgers is in the house. Uh, the camera would break. Yeah. Anyway, so that's it. So Demos does the Topps baseball cards, and that's actually got him a pretty good following with the Topps community, and he's mentioned that. I have some cards. I bought the 1988 season because I'm doing the 87 APA season. So I said, let me look at the players and remember the players and have them nearby so I can put the pitcher's picture there every so often. I still haven't taken it out of the box. I bought 3 sets of baseball cards. The older ones, the 70s, were really expensive. They're $150. I think I bought 92, 93, because I'm doing the 92 season with Stratomatic. So I bought 93. Then I bought 2016 because I'm doing the 2015 season with Stratomatic as well. So I bought 3 sets of cards, and I've only opened one, and the one I've opened, I believe, is the 87 set. I bought a 92 set. I bought a 2015 set. I haven't opened those. I bought the 92 set, and I separated the 2 teams I was playing, and I have them here somewhere. But so Topps and the baseball aspect of it, dimension of it, is a cool system to add to what we do as well. And that's pretty much all I wanted to say. Yeah, well, ID Jester's. I don't know if ID Jester's doing that baseball demos. I don't know if ID Jester's gonna pay the $2 processing fee. I think he's gonna boycott. He's gonna protest that $2 processing fee. I did listen for $18. I bought some sort of game yesterday. They had some sort of 60% off sale. So I don't really know what I bought. I haven't looked at it yet. They sent me something, and I bought, I think it was a Windows game. So I have the Windows 2019 baseball season from what I understand, but I'm not totally sure what I bought. But at 60% off, and I know Baseball Demos uses it, and I know a bunch of you guys use it, and I know it makes like really nice box scores. So then I said, why not have it? But I don't have the time to play all this stuff, man. All the stuff I have, I just don't have the time. And so ultimately, and that's really time is finite. That's one of my rants. Hey, don't hold back. If you have access to your files, put them out there. Let us buy them, because we're not going to be around to buy them in the future. Again, we're not going to, most of us are in our 50s and beyond. Okay, there's a few of us in our 40s, and there's a lot fewer of us younger than that. But I think the majority of us are in our 50s and 60s, and some of us are in our 70s, and there's probably a few sprinkled 80s in there. So I highly recommend that you give us all the seasons ASAP, and you give us all the players. Okay, why would a company ever come out with the nameless player cards when, if you have time, energy at your disposal to create nameless player cards, why not put a name on them and do that times 30 for all the teams? And now we have all the players that we want, and we don't have to go recreating stuff all over the place, or not playing for the guys that want to use the actual lineups. I know Baseball Demos does that. Give us all the cards. It's not that hard. You have additional players. You have nameless player cards. Put names on them. All right. You know what they batted. Put names on them, and then we'll buy them. You'll make money. Give them to us, however you want to give them to us. You'll make money, because we're going to buy that stuff. It's guaranteed. Mouse in House is just a pup. Who? Speak for yourself. I'm 36. That's what I said. There's a few of us younger than 40. And I bet you there's some of us in the 20s, and there's some of us in the teens. But the majority of us are, up there, and we've got purchasing power. We can buy your stuff, but it's got to be, worth it. It's got to be worth it, and we'll buy your stuff. Give us what we want, and we will buy your stuff. If you do PDF, even one-sided cards, guys will be happy with one-sided cards, because a lot of guys won't use basic. Guys, I had a guy that gave me a 69 reprint, but it was the white cards, because he wanted the 69 that just came out is super advanced, because he says, I only play super advanced. So I traded him what year was it that I traded him? A 2018, I believe, or 2017. No, 2018. I traded him a 2018, season for a 1969, and I put those in envelopes yesterday. Let me show them to you. Right here, look at this. Here, let me show you. I bought these envelopes. The guy had a sale on eBay, $10, no, $11 for these really cool envelopes. This is what I got for a 2018 set. Not the envelopes. The envelopes I bought for $11. He had a sale on eBay. So when he has those sales, we got to buy stuff so he has more sales. Now they went up to like $16. And then the newer sets with more teams are like $22 and $20. But this is really nice. All right. And you put your cards in here. It's better than having them, with rubber bands, held together with rubber bands. So then, and this is what I want to show. This is what I got. I got the white cards, right? And these are the Mets, the 69 Mets, Nolan Ryan, Tom Seaver, Jim McAndrew, Tug McGraw. These are in great shape. He used a nameless player card to create Duffy Dyer. Love that. Ron Taylor, they're in really nice shape. The guy kept them in really nice shape. He created another guy. Look at this, Jack DeLauro. Jack DeLauro, and he tells you all his stats. He was a pitcher. And then Don Clendenin. He was a big Mets fan as well. He's from the island, Long Island. Tommy Agee, Cleon Jones, who had a monster year in '69, batted .340. I use this side. I like super advanced, but this won't give me super advanced. But this is close enough. I use the lefty-righty switch sides. Rod Gasper, Bud Harrelson, Al Weiss, Jerry Grody. So they're all here. Anyway, so I got that. I just traded 2018. And I didn't even have 2018. I bought it from somebody else, and I told the guy, just mail it to my friend who's going to trade me the 1969 for it. So I bought it, and then he mailed it to him, and that was very cool. And look, this is how the envelopes are. Look at the nice envelopes you get. 1969 Cardinals, 1969 Cubs. They fell apart. Famous. I'm reading a book on the '69 season. So I think it's just called 1969. Pittsburgh Pirates, Padres, the Astros, Dodgers, Reds. These are all the envelopes. The Expos and the Braves. Here are the Braves. You get Hank Aaron. Let's look at Hank Aaron's card. No rubber band marks. He kept them in little plastic baggies. Hank Aaron, there he is. Look at that. 2-column 5 is a home run straight up. 3-column 6 is a home run straight up. Against right-handed pitchers. Against left-handed pitchers, 6 is a home run straight up. On the 2-column, it's 5 and 6 are home runs straight up. You got a split home run at 7. So he's a monster against both lefties and righties. And he hit 44 home runs, the number on his back. He had 44 home runs with 30 doubles, 3 triples, 300 average, 87 walks. Oh, look at this. Look at this stat. 47 strikeouts. Yeah. 47 strikeouts. Okay? He had 44 home runs, but he had only 47 strikeouts. So, I mean, granted, you didn't have pitchers firing at over 100 miles an hour, or there's, I think, a guy who's now pitching a slider at over 100 miles an hour. I mean, that's a ball with movement, and it's going at 100 miles an hour. So, granted, you didn't have those guys back then. I think those guys were delivering balls right over the plate a lot of the times. They didn't really, it wasn't such a very super specialized sport at that time, right? Guys weren't playing it from the time they're 4 years old like they are now. But anyway, that's what I bought. I bought this set, and then it all comes together. So take a look. Keep an eye out for these sets, and when they go on sale for 10, 12, 13 bucks, they're worth it, man. You try to print these out, that's going to be a headache. You're going to use printer ink. You can do this. You can line it up on your printer. You can pull up the logo. You can write this in, and you can hit print, and it'll print, but you got to do one at a time. This guy, I think, has a system. I don't know how he does it, but he may have already a template where you have, I guess you can have 1, 2, I don't know, with 4 fit on a page, or maybe, no. I don't know how he does it, but he does it. So anyway, that's it, guys, pretty much. So I wanted to show you that, my 1969 set that I traded for the 2018 set. I felt bad because, I went to the Mets 50th year celebration at the end of July in New York at Citi Field, and I didn't have a 69 set. And then I looked, and they sold out. The company sold out on the 69 set. And I was like, holy smokes. And now I can't have a 69 Mets season, so at least I have a 69 Mets season, And what else did I want to show you? Nothing. Oh, I'll show you one other thing. What I'm doing with Strat. You may be interested in looking at this. Basically, what was I? I want to play the 2006 season. I believe this is 2006. I can't remember what season it is, but anyway, I'm creating these. These are Strat cards using the app, the card app. So then I have a whole team here of Pirates for 1986 because I can't afford 1986 because it's $300, $400. So I decided, you know what? I'm just going to print out all the teams. I'll print out 24 players for every team, and I'll replay the season using the app. It's going to probably cost me an ink, but I have all the players. So that's what I'm doing right now. That's another little side project. So I'm using the app to create the whole season. So I'll have a whole 1980 season, 86 season for at least the National League, and I'll have created it. So I guess if I create it, I pay for it, I create it, it's mine, right? Someday I can basically move it on to somebody else when I'm done with it, once I have it all together, because the companies doesn't have it available. So if it's not available, um, and I'm not selling, this is my personal. I think you're allowed to sell your personal game, right? You can't make these and just sell them every week. You can have one that you use, and when you're done and you want to sell it, you can sell it. I think that's legal. I think there's nothing that's not a copyright issue at all. It was your system, so it's not like they can't tell you you can't sell what you own, right? Um, they can't tell you that. Like if I buy a set of cards from you, I can sell that set of cards. If I buy that, no matter what it is. Wow. You know why? There's actually a comment about 27th season, and I have a little, you know, I have a little viewpoint on this. When I play 27 seasons, I find it's really, really, really hectic and time consuming. Remember, I'm doing the 2019 deep drive replay. So I mean, this is based on me actually doing it. It's not based on just me, pontificating. Um, when you play modern baseball, there's a lot of pitching changes, and in the National League, with a lot of pitching changes, you get a lot of pinch hitting. You get a lot of double switches. That slows down the game, tremendously. So when I play, I don't always play a lot of modern games. I try to stay in the 70s and 80s. And also, when I do play, I have a tendency to let the pitcher go that one extra inning, saying, "Oh man, can I get him to go this one extra inning because he's due up, and then I won't have to pull a double switch if I pull him out now." So that's one of the aspects of newer baseball. So when you tell me your favorite season is 2017 modern, I respect that, but I tell you that to me it's overwhelming because I got to make lots of changes for both teams, and that slows down the game tremendously. More changes, slower game. And sometimes I don't want to play it, an hour and a half game or an hour game. Sometimes I want to roll a 20-minute, 30-minute game, get a nice feel for, visualize some good pitching and some good hitting, some good fielding, and then move on from there. So, there's a big difference. Now, when I play like 1973 with games that I don't know that well, I'm going to play older seasons. This is a new thing that I have. So games that I'm learning, I play older seasons. Games that I know, I play newer seasons. That's the way I'm going to start doing it now, because since I'll have fewer changes to make, it'll be easier for me to learn and just focus not so much on managing and strategy, but just on learning the rules and learning the quirks of the game itself. So that's the difference. Older seasons, easier to learn a game. Newer seasons, it's more complicated because of all the changes. You got to make lefty righty, changes and constantly, and a platoon and splits. You got to take those into consideration a lot for the newer seasons, where you don't have to do that so much for the older seasons. Roster card baseball. Is roster card baseball the one with the roster cards where you read the results off the cards? Because I think I've seen you play that, and I think you were reading results off the cards, or somebody was doing that. So I'm not too sure what roster card baseball is. ID Gesture knows a lot of the games, and that's really cool because he's a wealth of valuable information, and knowledge is power, and we have to appreciate that. We don't only have to play one game. I think this is the golden age of tabletop baseball games. It's just mind bending to me how many games are out there. But I want to also make a comment about the games. It takes time to develop a game. Like you come out with a game, you come out with an idea, you're a designer, you create this system, you try it out with some people, it looks pretty good, you make some adjustments and you put it out on the market. Now there's 100 guys all playing your game. And they're like, hey, there's an issue here. This is what's happening. I played 163 games, and this was the tendency, or this was the pattern. What do you think? Didn't make sense, or this never happened. I played the whole season, and I never had a wild pitch. So I think there's an issue. Or I played the whole season, and there was never a throwing error on the catcher. So I think there's an issue, like in Status Pro, right? When you pull the cards, and how many grounders to the catcher can you have in a game? It's like I don't understand that. So I've had 2 and 3 and 4 grounders to the catcher. So we know that that was an issue. Everybody knows it. And the new advanced cards, the new fast action cards uh, created by Brian and some others basically have fixed that. They've kind of removed that or lessened it or made it adjusted it. Yeah, that's what I was saying. The roster card is a sheet with all the baseball team rosters on a single sheet of paper. Yeah, that's what I said. I don't know. I think I said that. It basically you're playing. There's no cards. In other words, you're playing off a roster sheet. Hence, it's called roster sheet baseball. And that's one of the things. When I saw that, I said, "Oh, I don't know if that's for me. I don't want to read because going up and down lines and stuff. That's a drag for me. Like looking for names on I rather just have the cards in my hand. It's more tactile. Um, so that's the reason I didn't get into that ID gesture. I've seen you play that, and I'm sure it's a quick, easy game. Um, but you know, payoff pitch, I was playing about 40-minute games, so that's pretty good. I can get a 30, 40-minute game. That's pretty good. So I'm happy about that. And and then I spoke about the PDFs versus the cards. Cards are costing like $60 if you get the extra cards and so on. And sometimes you don't get all the cards. PDFs a lot of times come with all the cards. They're $15, let's say, but then you got to do a lot of printing. You got to have ink. You got to have a printer. You got to find a way where you have to know a little bit about computers and be able to use the right get all the cards to print the same size. Sometimes it's really strange because if I have I have 2 different HP printers. I have a real modern one and I have an older one. When I print on my modern one, the cards come out one size, and when I print on my older one, they come out a different size. And even though I have the same settings on, so that's wacky. I don't know what's going on there, but I've had to print from the older printer, like a 10-year-old printer, and all the cards come out perfect. So I just want to mention that as well. So you have the PDFs, you have the printing, you have the card stock. I had to buy card stock. I ran out of card stock. So I had to go. It was like $15 for $6 or $7. You get like 150 sheets. 150 sheets it'll go by quick. So you don't want to keep on having to go to the store. So I bought a bigger one. It was like 12 or 13 or $14. So you got that expense. Then the ink is about $20. So then you're up to $34. Then all the time that it takes, and then all the cutting, I mean, that's time that I'm not rolling dice. So now you're talking about, hey, do I rather spend $35, $40 and do all that headache of cutting and printing and watching the printer, making sure everything comes out properly, or do I want to just buy the cards, nice, printed out, cut? They just get to your house and you start rolling. That's the question. So anyway, that's about it. I mean, an hour is a good time to cut it. I think we had a good opportunity to chit chat and go back and forth on stuff that we want to see, and we got to definitely support each other on the forums. Go to Delphi forums. They got forums for Inside Pitch, for Replay, for Tabletop. Tabletop is a great forum to go to. It's Delphi Tabletop. Check that out because you can talk about anything there. Another one of the best forums on Facebook is the Sports Board Game forum because you can talk about any game there. It doesn't have to be one specific game. Like if you go to the Apple forum or if you go to the Stratomatic forum, what happens? You can only talk about one game. Okay, so then that limits you. But if you go to Tabletop Delphi, you can talk about any game. If you go to sports board games on Facebook, you can talk about any games, and just be aware of of the idiosyncrasies and the quirks of the administrators, and sometimes they don't like something, so it's like send them to the pillory, hang them high, you know, and a lot of times even if you disagree with one of the administrators, sometimes they go off and they ban you, so you have to be very careful. You have to get to know what the administrators, and you got, if you're a positive force, like if you bring stuff to the table, if you have interesting commentary, if you play games and you share those games and you have videos and all that, they usually kind of work with you, and because they know that's what these sites, they need that. If there's nothing going on the site, guess what's going to happen? Nobody's going to go to that site, and it's not going to be popular. So you need guys to bring up conversations, ask questions, talk about potential, home brews, have conversations like that sends a message to designers, because they're on all those forums as well. They love our hobby as well. So they're listening in, and if everybody, I ran a poll. There's another really good clearinghouse, it's Stratomatic Clearinghouse. That's another really good Facebook group, and I created a poll there just talking about, do you want Strat to release every season on PDF and some seasons on card, or do you want just the 1962 and the 2019? And guess what? 70% of people on that poll want Strat to deliver all seasons by PDF, and then some, the ones they think they can make money on through the printed card stock. Okay, so you can have the best of both worlds, but the guys don't want PDFs. They're saying, oh no, they just don't want it. So they only want the night. There's actually guys voting for just want Strat to release 1962 and 2019. They don't want them to release anything else. But if they release something else, they'll go crazy apeshit over it, and they'll fawn all over it, and they'll drop to their knees, idolizing it, but yet they won't say, hey, would you guys please release this stuff? I mean, I don't know what's going on there. It's mind-bending to me. It's kind of scary. It's almost like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I don't know if you've ever read that book. It's a fascinating story, and a lot of times I feel like the guy, in the doctor who realizes, hey, there are aliens taking over people's bodies, and he starts shouting it and talk to people, and everybody looks at him like he's a wacko. Well, I feel like that guy a lot of times. I feel like the guy that's speaking out, and nobody else, everybody's looking at him and saying, what are you talking about? You're insane. But I'm not insane, because that poll shows I'm not insane. It's got 70% of people, and I'm telling you, the people who are voting for just random releases only, like 2 releases only, why would you ever vote for limiting what you like? I don't understand that. It makes no sense. Like, just release 2 years. Do you not have any other seasons that are your favorite that you like to? No, you just want your way. You want to be stubborn, and you want your way. So you're going to say, no, I want them to release 1962. Isn't 1962 great? This is like the greatest season. Willie Mays, Willie McCovey. And they find all these reasons to go nuts over 1962. If they would have released, I don't know, 1976, they were like, oh, 1976, Reds, the Big Red Machine, amazing season. I love this season. I can't wait for it to be, I can't wait for February. It's like, dude, if you want 1976, say I want 1976. I'm not crazy about 1962. I wish they would release, but no, you don't have to, silence yourself because of, I don't know why, because it's really real. Then you have all these corporate defenders or apologists that are saying, oh, they have to make money. They know what they're doing. They've been around for 70 years, or they're a company and they know how to make a profit. And you don't have to tell me, You don't have to defend the company. They can defend themselves. They have to offer the consumers what the consumers are demanding. So don't come to me with a defense of the company when the company is not offering or not fulfilling demand of 70% of their customers. And the ones that are, it's more than 70%. I can guarantee you that if they released all the seasons, guess what? All those guys that are saying, no, I just want 1962 would go buying bonkers. All right. They'd be buying every season and then they'd be hoarding every season. So when they run out, they can sell the season for double the price or triple the price. Those are the guys that don't want them to release every season. The guys that are making, there's a guy right now paying $275, and I don't know if it's gone up, for the 1975 Stratomatic season. $275 for numbers on cardstock. Okay? Come on now. And that's probably, I wouldn't be surprised if people in the company have a side business and they're doing this. They're printing out these cards. They're selling us these cards and charging $200, $300. I wouldn't be surprised. And that's why they don't want to release all the seasons in PDF, because they know that side business of that predatory side business would basically go away. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm sorry, that sounds like a little bit of a conspiracy theory, but it may be a little bit of a conspiracy theory. But hey, I wouldn't be surprised, because it makes no sense when they know seasons like 1975 can get $200-$300. Why are they not putting it out? Doesn't that tell you that there's high enough demand for somebody who want to pay that much money, right? Put out all your seasons. The argument is that they can't afford to put out all their seasons because it costs them money to produce, and they're not going to sell that many. And there's tons of excuses for the company apologists, corporate apologists, or company apologists, explaining why we can't have what we want. Well, guess what? All the other companies, much smaller companies, do it. They put their stuff out on PDF. And if they can't afford to print them out, put them on PDF. We'll buy the PDF. When you print them out, guess what we'll do? We'll buy the printed version, because everybody would rather have a printed version anyway. So anyway, that's rant number 6. And this is CP Cards and Dice saying, take care, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. Okay, I have a question about the Strat app. Let me explain to you. This is what I do. I take a picture, all right, a screenshot, basically. Then on the email that I attach the screenshot, I open it on my 10-year-old Windows 7 computer. Then I have to click on a little corner section where it has like 3 dots that allows me to print. Then I click pictures to a page, even though I only have 1 card. So I have to print 1 card at a time. I can't figure out how to put multiple cards on a page to print multiple cards. Some guys who are more computer savvy can. All right, so those are the shot. You email yourself the screenshot to your computer. You open on your computer. You download it. Then you can start manipulating to take the picture. And that's how you would do that. All right, if you want more information, contact me at combatpainter@gmail.com. And we'll exchange numbers, and I can do a video and a tutorial on how to do that. I'm willing to do that for any guys who need any more information. All right, so this is CP Cards and Dice saying have a great day. I will be back with a game later on this evening. I may have to go out to lunch with my kids. All right, take care.